Bitcoin pulled back after a 10% increase this week. Are we getting ready for new all-time highs again? Or is the upcoming halving next week going to be a sell the news event? My name's Kalen Huntress, and this is the Web3 Weekly, where we look at all the news headlines that are affecting the crypto market. This week, we're going to be looking at the inflows and outflows into the Bitcoin ETF, as well as the Solana eclipse of Ethereum in stablecoin volume. The SEC is suing one of the most popular DeFi protocols, and there's some big macro factors that are affecting the market. We'll go over all of these and more, but first, a disclaimer. I am an amateur. This is not advice. It is entertainment and hopefully education. I'm just some clown on the internet, so I want you to do your own research, make good choices, and wipe your own nose. I'm just going to share with you the headlines and news and charts that I'm going to use to help me make better trading decisions. And if you'd like to see what I found, come along. This week, Bitcoin had some really positive price action. It still hasn't gone below this major level that Gareth Soloway shared with us in his crypto services. Going back to February, there's this line that comes up, kind of makes a head and shoulders pattern. We had a shoulder and then a head and a shoulder, and it went below the neckline, but it didn't confirm. And then it came back up, and now we're in this choppy channel. And that's what we've been doing this week, is we've been spending time in this channel. Bitcoin dominance has been staying pretty steady around 54.5%. And this is because Bitcoin has been holding strong. The ETF is getting a lot of liquidity. Some people are calling it the black hole. It's attracting a lot of liquidity in the market. And other tokens, such as Ethereum, are not doing very well. That's why Bitcoin dominance is kind of high, is because there's no altcoin that's keeping up with Bitcoin or improving. If I come over to the new website at verifiedinvesting.com, there's all sorts of great analysis on here. And I'm going to come to this section for the Verified Pro charts. There's this chart that they have on Ethereum, and it's titled Ethereum Wedge Means Big Move Coming. And we don't know if this big move is going to be to the upside or to the downside, but we know it's got to be one of these ways. And what I like so much about what they do at Verified Investing is they add the lines onto the charts that you can just copy right onto your own trading view. And you can see we're in this wedge pattern. If we break up, we've got a target of just over $4,000. And if we break down out of this wedge, it looks like we're aiming towards $2,700. And so we've got to keep an eye on the charts to see what happens. Solana has also been in a bit of a downtrend. It's been one of the strongest leaders in this bull run until recently. It's been pulling back from its highs of 200. But one of the biggest leaders this week was Toncoin. Toncoin has had a great week. If we go over to cointelegraph.com, we see the headline here is that Ton's $5 million incentive program aims to drive digital ID verification. What the Ton Society is doing, they report, is offering 1 million Toncoin tokens to users who verify their identity using palm scanning technology. The Open Network, which is what Ton stands for, T-O-N, the Ton ecosystem developers have set aside $5 million of Toncoin tokens to incentivize users to verify their identity using state-of-the-art palm scanning technology. And so when this happened, there was a really interesting video that was put out on the new Verified Investing app. I'm going to open up this app and go down to the Smart Money Crypto service. And this is a paid service where you get real-time alerts. Every day, master trader Gareth Soloway shares a video about what's happening in the markets. And that's what he did yesterday. The Bitcoin and Ethereum remain strong and alts remain weak. It's a 7 to 10 minute video where he goes through the charts. And then he also does these other smaller videos like he did about Toncoin. I'm not going to play his whole video for you, but I just want to scan ahead and show you what he does. Is he looks at the price action and he says, look at how this is acting. There's a shortable opportunity here for people who are looking for lines of resistance. And so if you're looking to improve your trading game, then using Gareth Soloway's Smart Money crypto service is a great way to do that. And when you see headlines like this, Toncoin is offering this incentive, and you see the price go up, then it's time to put your thinking hat on and decide what kind of trades you want to make. And this is why so many people are up in their portfolio this year, is because they took good positions. According to the block, the average crypto portfolio is up $2,800 so far in 2024. And they get this from CoinLedger. CoinLedger is tax software, and a lot of people hook their crypto portfolio into CoinLedger, and so they have a lot of data on people's crypto portfolio. And they say that so far in 2024, the average portfolio is up $2,800, which is a lot compared to last year. All of 2023, the unrealized gains was less than $1,000. So people are doing better in crypto, which is causing more interest in crypto and more money is flowing in. According to Reuters, Hong Kong is set to approve its first spot Bitcoin ETFs in April. And this is big news because crypto trading is illegal in mainland China. But in Hong Kong, if they approve spot Bitcoin ETFs, some of those banks that are holding those ETFs have relationships with mainland China financial services, so that all of the Chinese people that are currently locked out of trading in Bitcoin and in speculating and adding their liquidity to increase the Bitcoin price, because these ETFs may launch soon, it may bring in a lot of liquidity. According to Bitcoin Magazine, $284 billion China Southern Fund has reportedly applied to launch a spot Bitcoin ETF in Hong Kong. So there's a lot of positive news happening out there to bring more investors into the crypto space, both out on the retail side and in the corporate side. The Tokenist reports that there's a firm that seeks to be Asia's first MicroStrategy. And this firm is called MetaPlanet. And they were once a hotel operator that pivoted to being a Web3 developer, and they want to follow in MicroStrategy's footsteps and hold Bitcoin as part of their corporate treasury. In Japan, crypto investments are highly taxed. And so having a stock investment that would give you proxy access to, or a proxy exposure to Bitcoin, could get a lot of interest in Japan. Moving on, we're going to listen to some tweets from X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, where Macroscope says that there's more confirmation that the Bitcoin ETFs will be popular in the wealth management space. Because of a recent SEC filing, Wedmont Private Capital reported owning 3,471 shares of the Fidelity Bitcoin ETF. And this is a wealth management firm that holds more than $1 billion in assets. And they're getting exposure to ETFs. We're seeing that appetite increase across the market. But the price has gone down. We had that 10% rise and then it pulled back. And Kim Talks Crypto over on X had a great idea why. Because on the 8th of April, the ETF outflows exceeded inflows. Specifically, she said $303 million of Grayscale's GBTC outflows. GBTC, this gray row on the top, these are all the different ETFs. And then every row is a day, a weekday, where everybody except for GBTC is buying Bitcoin, but Grayscale is having to sell Bitcoin until they're done. And last week, their sales were under $100 million for 4 of the 5 days. And then on the 8th, they had a big sale. How much more do they have to sell? We don't know. The appetite is kind of unknown. Just like we don't know the appetite of Mr. 100. This mysterious Bitcoin purchaser who purchases 100 Bitcoin per day and has been doing that for more than a year. Marty Party Music shared their wallet and identified that they now hold 59,000 Bitcoin. Is it a nation state? Is it a corporation? Is it one of the world's richest billionaires? We don't know yet, but something tells me eventually we'll find out. There's a great article over on Medium by Arthur Hayes, who is the former founder. He's the co-founder of BitMEX, one of the first cryptocurrency exchanges. And he's great at inflammatory statements, and he kicks around the global financial system. And I'm scrolling way down to this section on the Bitcoin halving, which is happening next week. And what I find so interesting is that he's taking a contrarian take here. He says the narrative of the halving being positive for crypto prices is well entrenched. But when most market participants agree on a certain outcome, The opposite usually occurs. That is why I believe, he says, Bitcoin and crypto prices in general will slump around the halving. You know, there's an old saying in crypto, buy the rumor and sell the news, because prices will go up before an event, and then after the event, there's a huge dip because everybody sells the news. And if you look at previous halvings and what Bitcoin has done in the weeks before and after the halving, I encourage you to look in TradingView. Go look in the history and see what happens on those weeks and see if you can glean some insight on what might happen over the next 2 weeks in this year's halving. Solana, according to Decrypt, is dominating Ethereum in stablecoin payment volume. Alliance Bernstein analysts say that the one-time Ethereum killer is indeed beating ETH as the preferred way to make stablecoin payments. And this makes a lot of sense, right? Because if you are wanting to make a stablecoin payment, do you want to pay the outrageous gas fees on Ethereum network or the really low gas fees on the Solana network? And this has some advantages and some disadvantages. Solana, the soul, is during the solar eclipse had another outage. And Hannah Knight shared this great juxtaposition of the eclipse both in the sky and on the charts. And the outage was explained in a really complicated TLDR by Mert. And I'm thankful that Bread Guy over on X, he said, nobody's going to read that, so here's a picture. And he explained the Solana outage in a cartoon, which is the best way that I can learn things, is through cartoons. And because transaction fees are so low, it's easy for bots to throw a whole bunch of transactions into a block. And so you, the meme coin enjoyer, you want to go buy some dog whiff hat, but there's bots that are throwing an exponentially larger number of transactions onto the blockchain at the same time. And even though Solana can do a whole lot of transactions per second, it can't keep up with the bots. So there's a lot of interesting discussion going on right now on crypto Twitter about maybe we do need higher transaction costs to keep the spam off of the Solana blockchain. Now for the bad news. Altcoin Daily reports that the SEC just declared war on crypto. Uniswap, the largest decentralized exchange, which has had over $2 trillion in total volume since it launched in 2018. It's ranked the number one in most of the metrics that matter, including over $6 billion in total value locked. And this week, Uniswap received a Wells notice from the SEC, which is the step right before a lawsuit. It lets them know we're about to sue you for something, which makes no sense because, as Victor Boonin says, Uniswap is literally the textbook definition of a perfect protocol. 100% permissionless, decentralized, and credibly neutral. There's no upgrade keys, no multi-sig, no shenanigans, very limited governance. It's basically a front end and some code. And if you want to go there with somebody else and make a swap, that's up to you. Uniswap just provides the medium for that to happen. So some people, like Victor, think that Uniswap will prevail in court and set precedent for the rest of the industry, which we really need is precedent because the SEC is acting as an activist. Jesse Eckel says that crypto is literally overrun with legitimate scams, and the SEC continually chooses to ignore all of them and only go after the upstanding teams in the space, hurting investors and pushing innovation offshore. So what's happened? Altcoin Daily puts it great. They say first, they came for Binance to protect us. Next, they came for Coinbase to protect us. And now they come for Uniswap to protect us when they missed FTX, Celsius, and Three Arrows Capital completely. There's something else going on here. It's not just to protect consumers that they're doing this. Hayden Adams, the inventor of the Uniswap protocol, he wrote a very eloquent tweet thread about this Wells notice and how he plans to fight this in court. And so it's great that we have activists like, well, he's not even an activist. He's just a dude doing his job. And but he's holding firm against the unjust actions by the SEC, which is what we really need right now. And now let's zoom out and look at the macro picture, because crypto doesn't exist in a vacuum. Crypto traders often trade other assets. And when those other assets make moves, it increases or decreases the liquidity in the crypto markets. That's why I'm so glad that Gareth Soloway has shows like The Game Plan, where he shares what's going on in the market as a whole. And I'm going to play for you an excerpt from this week's Game Plan where he talks about oil.
But then today, the stock market's getting a bounce, so people are rotating money out and back towards technology, and that's why oil's coming down. So oil, in some weird ways, is like a safe haven in certain situations, and I think that's probably what's going on there. The one thing I will say, guys, again, we confirmed above this level, and what kind of pattern is this starting to make? Like, that could be a bull flag. It's possible. So we'll have to watch that in the coming sessions here of the Game Plan.
The Game Plan is a great overview of what's happening across all markets. And because interest rates, for example, they're going to affect the ability of people to invest in the crypto market. And so it's important to keep an eye on interest rates. Something really interesting that Gareth found this week. Let me share it with you.
I was looking at this chart and I'm like, holy cow. I think rates have topped in the near term here. Now, I know that's a huge shocker because you turn on mainstream media, everyone's talking about higher rates now, higher rates going back to 5%. I don't see it now, and I'm going to show you why in just 1 second.
And he goes into the specifics about why. If you're not watching The Game Plan, it's a free show on YouTube. He does every weekday. It's really worth it. He also is often on Trading the Close, which is a show with the anchor Tony Valieri, and she interviews Gareth Soloway and other traders in the verified investing pros like Paul Sampson, who had something really interesting to say about the Bitcoin price this week.
Could we come down here? It's something I'm kind of still looking at for short term. It's the 2021 high once again. I feel like we've been magnetized to that $69,000 area ever since January. It's just coming, it's living above it. Everybody's excited, lives below it. Everybody's fearful, so on and so forth. It's honestly offered up a ton of trading opportunities. I do think that this range is at some point going to be coming to an end here, though, right? So we've been up here for months at this point. So for me personally, I am, barring a little move down to this region here, I am still actually targeting back up towards this region. I know I said it yesterday. 73,000, and effectively I do think we're going to touch that all-time high and probably make a new one here soon. Yeah.
So that kind of analysis is what you'll get from Paul Sampson. He's great at calling the levels of what you need to watch out for. But he uses this technique that he's been talking about a lot on Tony's show, Trading the Close, called the golden pocket. Listen to what he has to say about it.
We did have a really nice couple of gold pockets today, right? So it was basically a gold pocket sandwich. And so yesterday, I'll just go ahead and show you how I'm drawing this out. So I'm pulling this now from the swing high here, and I'm going to pull all the way down to that low that we made yesterday. We did the same exact thing as Bitcoin, right? This was our previous low. Now this is for yesterday once again. So this was Tuesday's low. Wednesday we took it. We came up and we closed in this region last night. And then what did we come up to right here where we turned around? It was a gold pocket. So from that swing high, which once again, this is a Fibonacci retracement. So if I was to carve out basically this section of the chart, cut it in half, that'd be 50%. 61.8 to 65 is right here, right? So that's the gold pocket Fibonacci retracement. Is a very common retracement zone to the upside as well as to the downside. So where did we come here? This was our resistance, right? As we came into the day, pulled back. Now if we take another gold pocket and we pull that from that swing low to our new high, this is exactly where we came into today. So super simple stuff. I mean,
that's what I love about trading is if you can find a simple technique like the 618 Fibonacci retrace, then you see it show up everywhere. Gareth saw it this week in the 10-year yield.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a Fibonacci retrace, right? We're going to take it from this high to this low, and let's see where the fib lines level up. Let's see if that gives us a secondary level. So right away, what are we doing? We're taking this high, dragging our fibs down to the lows, and look at that. Okay, so for those of you that don't know about fibs, these fibs are amazing. They appear naturally in nature everywhere. You look everywhere, there's always these Fibonacci sequences. It's one of the reasons why I believe in them in the charts. Doesn't mean they're foolproof. They obviously can get broken. But the point is when you have another level that's lining up, that's very powerful. Sure enough, what's this fib level right here? The 618 Fibonacci retrace from this high to this low. Where is it? Literally almost to the exact marker of my 4.55 level. So that again right there was making me think, wait a minute, I didn't realize, and I hadn't seen this before, or maybe I did and I just forgot. But like I look at that, and last night I'm like, holy cow, I got to alert my members here of Smart Money, Stocks and Commodities to this factor, because this could mean rates start to roll over here.
So if you're wondering what are those members, over at verifiedinvesting.com, you can go to the Trade Alerts tab, and you can go to the 4 different services individually. But if you hit this top level button right in the menu bar for Trade Alerts, you'll see the 4 Trade Alert services that they have at Verified Investing. There's stock and ETF alerts. There's the crypto trade alerts, which I've highlighted a bit today. Paul Sampson has a Trader's Edge service where he gives deep insight on specific levels that he's watching in the crypto market. And then they've also got a commodities and miners service. This new website is just incredible. In addition to all the educational video shows they do, this website has a lot of articles on specific things that are happening in the market. They keep track of the Magnificent Seven. They've got all these different charts for stocks to watch and cryptos to watch. They've got economic charts about economic data that matters. You wonder what's happening with earnings and the economic calendars? You don't have to go to 20 different websites. Everything you need is right here at verifiedinvesting.com. It's a fantastic website. I highly recommend you check it out. But what I really want to show you is the dashboard for members. If you join as a member, then you get access to this app that I showed you earlier. And when you launch this app, there's a bunch of different programs you can purchase. There's a bunch of services that you can buy. But if you just become a member and look at the feed, then you're going to see specific charts on specific assets. And when Gareth finds something that his traders need to know about, he puts it in here. When Dr. B or Paul Sampson find something that they want to share, they come into this app and they put it in here. So now I don't have to go to 20 different websites throughout the day to find out what do I need to know about the difference between the PPI data and the CPI data. Dr. B's written an article where I can just go and read it and find it out. I didn't even know that there was a decision for options trading for Bitcoin, but Paul Sampson wrote an article about the SEC postponing a decision. And now I've got more intellectual material I can use to make good trades. So I highly recommend that you go to verifiedinvesting.com, download the app, become a member, and if you're serious about your trading, then join one of their services. I'll see you next week for more Web3 headlines. Have fun out there.